sincere love to God's new book. From the Womb to Illmatic, a hip-hop-inspired blueprint for unlocking your child's inner genius. This ain't your average parenting book. This is for the culture. Inspired by Illmatic, built around his own son Seven's early development, and packed with real tools to help parents turn everyday moments into genius-level learning. If you've ever wanted to give your child a head start without losing your roots, this book is for you. Available now on Amazon. Order now and leave a 5-star review. You already know, we raising brilliance around here.
All right, peace, family, peace, peace, peace. Top of the top, what's good, what's good, what's good? Man, doing a quick early broadcast today, man. I just came from dropping my son off at school a little while ago, and today is my rest day from the gym, so I got a little bit of time, and I wanted to just come on here real quick to talk to y'all about something that was kind of on my mind that I wanted to break down for the family a little bit. Yesterday, my brother, shout out to my brother Ish. Shout out to my good brother Ishmael. He's a member of the channel here at Sincere Love the Godcast. And by the way, if you want to become a channel member, it's only $3. Go ahead and grab you a channel membership. We drop a lot of exclusive content and early releases for the channel members here on Sincere Love the Godcast as well. So definitely want to become a member. We're going to be doing a lot more content exclusively for the channel members and all of that. So $3. Go ahead and grab you a membership. But shout out to my brother Ish, man. My brother Ish is a real staunch defender of the code, staunch defender of New Black media, and just a real intelligent brother, real very passionate brother. But shout out to him. He sent me I think it was a tweet. Let me see. What was it? I think he sent me a tweet or a post or something from the Wall Street Trapper where he was speaking on where's he at? Yeah, he sent me a tweet from Wall Street Trapper where he was speaking on the recent fatal shooting of suspected white supremacist Ben Shapiro. No, it wasn't Ben Shapiro. Nick Fuentes. No, it wasn't Nick Fuentes. Who was it? Who was the suspected white supremacist that was fatally unalived a couple of days ago? I get my white supremacists mixed up. I get my suspected white supremacists mixed up. What's the guy's name? I can't even think of his name right now. Founder of Turning Point USA. Whatever. It's neither here nor there. It don't really have that much to do with the discussion I'm having. But he sent me Wall Street Trapper's post that he put up or tweet that he put up talking about that. And he was speaking kind of sympathetic toward the issue of whatever happened to the suspected white supremacists. And you know what I'm saying? He sent me that because a while back, he had told me some suspect things that he had seen or heard with Wall Street Trapper. And he's like, I think this dude might be a tether. You know what I'm saying? And he very well may be. He very well may be. I'm not here to say that he is or he isn't, or to try to defend him in any way. Certainly don't co-sign him expressing any type of empathetic or sympathetic sentiments toward what happened with the suspected white supremacists. Now, I'm not saying that we have to be out here celebrating anybody's death or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But we definitely don't owe any empathy or sympathy toward people who look at us as being less than human. You know what I'm saying? And so definitely that was some off-code, off-brand shit, you know what I'm saying, for him to do. And I seen Umar Johnson did something similar as well. I don't really want to turn this into a conversation about that, but just real quick, since this is, this is coming across my mind right now, let me just say, you know what I'm saying, Umar Johnson, he did something similar to that as well. He was kind of wagging his finger at some of his followers and some of his supporters who he says are out here celebrating the death and whatever the case may be. And I think Umar Johnson, his motivation might be out of fear to a certain degree, because Umar Johnson himself, obviously he's a controversial speaker. You know what I'm saying? He says a lot of things that people don't agree with, and he does a lot of public speakings as well. And so maybe he might be in fear that there might be some type of target on his back for retribution or something like that. So he went out and put it out there, like kind of condemning the people who weren't showing empathy and sympathy towards what happened, and let it be known that he wasn't on that side of things. You know what I'm saying? So I think he kind of did that, as a defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like, man, I ain't trying to be no target out here. Let it be known real quick. I don't stand for that. I ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what he was doing. I don't know. But it was just weird to me that he went out his way to say that. It's like, just say nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta express no type of condolences, and you ain't gotta, start doing no celebratory dances or whatever the case may be. Just don't say nothing at all. But in his position, he's probably like, man, let me put this out there because I ain't trying to have no target on my back. So whatever, that's neither here nor there. What I really want to talk to y'all about today was really about a mindset thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really here to talk about whether Wall Street Trapper is a tether or a coon or not, and I know y'all see on the thumbnail, I also got the brother Myron Golden on there as well. And I just got him on there because I'm using him as an example in this conversation too. So this conversation that I'm having with y'all this morning is really about a mindset and kind of giving the family a reminder to always be observant of the nuances. You know what I'm saying? Y'all often heard me say a quote that I got from Dr. Wesley Muhammad, that God is in the nuances. And that statement always resonated with me because that's just the way that I've always seen things. That's the way that I've always viewed things. I always try to look at situations and think critically. I always try to challenge my own embedded belief system. You know what I'm saying? And try to avoid echo chambers. And so I'm using this conversation to kind of remind the family to be mindful of that. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to how we look at certain situations, I think it's important for us to observe the nuances, for us to challenge our belief systems, and also to manage our triggers. You know what I'm saying? To not be so quick to be triggered by certain words, certain phrases, or whatever the case may be, because a lot of times, we hear in these spaces, in these new Black media spaces and all of that stuff, it can be a tricky thing not to fall into like a group think kind of mentality. You know what I'm saying? We also we have to maintain, you know what I'm saying, our ability to think critically and to challenge our own belief system, and not just get caught up into these echo chambers, you know what I'm saying, and be so easily triggered by certain words that, sound off code or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But also, after you do your observations and you observe the nuances and all of that, it doesn't always require you to change your mind or to change your stance. Sometimes it is necessary to stand on business. Sometimes your initial thought or your initial reaction to certain things or your triggers to certain things were on point, and it's appropriate to stand on business. But sometimes it is also appropriate to make adjustments. So we have to be able to be swift and changeable. So let me get into what we're talking about as far as Wall Street Trapper. So my brother had told me a while back, I think this brother might be a tether. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, why you say that? Because I never even thought about whether he was or wasn't a tether, but just from me observing him online and stuff like that, he just seemed very New Orleans to me. Like any brother that I know from New Orleans, he seemed very, very New Orleans to me. I didn't get no foreign vibes from him. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know too much about his mentality and his political stances and stuff like that. I'm just talking about his personality and his just the way he carries himself, his body language and all of that. I'm like, dang, really? I'll be surprised if he was non-FBA, because he seems like a FBA brother to me. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, yeah. So I'm like, damn, why you say that? And so he like, yeah, man, he said some problematic things in the past, and he pointed out some of his tweets to me. And let me share my screen with y'all to give y'all some examples of some of the things that he said that were problematic, especially when it comes to reparations. Right? So this was back in 2022. Let me share this with y'all. Oh, there you go. Y'all can see it on the screen right there. But I don't know if y'all can hear me though. Let me. Okay. How about this? All right, that's not a good one. How about this? I think y'all can see me and y'all can hear me now. Yeah. So this was a tweet that he had put up back in 2022. And he was saying, yeah, all the reparations I want is in the market. I'm going to take responsibility for changing my family. And so, of course, a lot of people were triggered by this. A lot of people saw this as being off code. And as you can see, a lot of the responses here were appropriate. In my opinion, some of these responses were appropriate. This brother here said, rugged individualism at its finest. Reparations is owed to a community that was enslaved, subjugated, marginalized, murdered, plus financially handicapped. Your political ignorance plus immaturity is on full display. Did you graduate high school? Do you have a finance degree? So, he's being challenged here. Your family is literally in the position it's in because of racial discrimination by the U.S. government, but you're going to pull your entire family up by your bootstraps? That makes no sense. So tweets like this make me want to read more and speak less. You are so gone in the head. You clearly don't know anything about reparations. Wall Street, quote, Wall Street was an auction block for and constructed by enslaved. You hustling your own with this delusional individualism. And so, like I said, a lot of people were given pushback here, rightfully so. Rightfully so, in my opinion. Rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? But I also ask myself, is this a person who is trying to undermine our fight for reparations? Is this a person that's putting himself in a position to try to work against what we're trying to do as far as our fight for reparations? Or is this a person that doesn't really understand the difference between our collective plight and our collective struggle for reparations and taking personal accountability, and being able to do for self on an individual level? Is this a person who is conflating the two different things? Is this a person who's just not really observing the nuance and just looking at people fighting for reparations as not being able or making excuses for not being able to do for self? You know what I'm saying? Not observing the fact that we can do both. We can walk and chew bubble gum. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we could take self-accountability and do what we got to do on an individual level to pull ourselves up and to pull our families up. But we could also continue the fight for the collective group and get the reparations that is a blood debt that is owed to our people as a collective group. You know what I'm saying? Because we can do both. We can do both. And so I'm like, okay, this is Wall Street Trapper speaking here. This is me looking at the situation. This is Wall Street Trapper speaking here. What arena does he operate in? What lane is he in? He's not really in the political lane. He's not really in the activism lane. He's teaching people how to trade in the market, how to invest in the market. He's in the financial literacy lane. He's in to teaching Black people. That's his target audience, teaching Black people how to make money in the markets. You know what I'm saying? And so in order to do that, that requires a certain mindset. In order for you to acquire that skill set of trading, investing, all of the things that come with making money in the market and securing your future through taking money out of the market, you have to have a certain mindset in order to be successful at that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm like, okay, although this is an off-code statement from our standpoint, this is Wall Street Trapper speaking to his audience and helping them develop the mindset that it takes to be successful in the arena that he's operating in. You know what I'm saying? Could it be that? It's different when you have somebody from, say the Congressional Black Caucus, You know what I'm saying? You get somebody who's in the Senate or in Congress or something like that, and they putting out a tweet like this. They making some type of tweet like this where it's like, black people don't need no reparations. Everything is fair and even, and you know what I'm saying? Everybody has the equal opportunity to be successful. And if I can make it, you can make it. It's different when it's coming from somebody who's operating in that type of arena. That's somebody that's clearly knows better, number one, and clearly working with the establishment against our fight and our cause in order for them to get their own individual butter biscuits out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, in my opinion, my humble opinion, you know what I'm saying? Feel free to disagree with me and leave your thoughts in the comment section as well, that is the intentions of a Wall Street trapper per se. I think the Wall Street trapper is just trying to develop a certain mindset with his audience and with his following to be able to develop the tools and the skills that it takes to be successful in the market. Right? And so later on, that first tweet that I just shared with y'all, that was, when was that? That was in 2022. And so earlier this year, back in April of 2025, people were still questioning some of his tweets and some of his thoughts and some of his views when it came to some of these things. And so he responded to somebody. Let me put this up. This was this year, 2025. He responded to somebody who tweeted, who responded to, I guess, one of his tweets. It said, another discussion about Wall Street trapper, and this is FBA Sway. Shout out to FBA Sway. Another discussion about Wall Street trapper needs to take place because he has said some off-coast stuff before, like Black Americans don't need reparations, and now this. I don't know what he was responding to. I think it has something to do with the Shedeur Sanders situation, and I don't know what Wall Street said about the Shedeur Sanders situation, but I don't even want to get into that. That's besides the point. You know what I'm saying? But because he said, obviously missing the point about Shedeur and the suspected white supremacist NFL owners. So it had something to do with that. But whatever that specific situation was, is neither here nor there as far as, what we're discussing today. So Wall Street Trapper responded to that. He said, I never in my life said we don't need reparations. I said we can't wait for them to give us reparations and we can get it out the market while we waiting. So there's a difference there. There's a nuance there. You know what I'm saying? And so everything is not always one way or the other, black and white. Either you say exactly what I'm saying and use the words that I'm saying, or you just off code and, you know what I'm saying? It's not always like that. There's always nuance. So did he actually say that black people don't need reparations? According to him, he never in his life said we don't need reparations. He said we can't wait for them to give us reparations. We can get it out the market while we wait. And now, do I agree with what he's saying there? Yes and no. Because like I said earlier, we could walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, meaning we could take self-accountability and do for self and still fight for reparations. I don't like the word wait for reparations, because just sitting around waiting for reparations, no, it's never going to come. You have to be actively fighting for reparations. We have to force these people to do the right thing and pay the debt that is owed. That is something that's going to have to be forced upon them. That's not something that we're just going to sit around and wait for them to do and it's going to get done. That's something that, just like everything else, when it came to civil rights, when it came to us getting free from slavery, all of that stuff, we had to force them to do the right thing. We had to force them to act like civilized human beings. You know what I'm saying? They're incapable of doing that on their own. So we have to force that. We can't just be benign about that. So that's the part that I disagree with him. You know what I'm saying? And also, when he says we can get it out the market while we wait, you could get money out the market or however you decide to get money. You know what I'm saying? But that's not reparations. So I don't like that he conflated that either. Don't conflate you having a skill set or an ability to be able to make money with that being a form of reparations. No, reparations is a debt that is owed. You know what I'm saying? You being able to get money out the market, that's you being able to take advantage of a skill set that you develop in spite of, you know, the system being in place that works against you, that works against your entire group. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to conflate those things. Yeah, your ability to get money out the market, that's fine, but that's not reparations. So you can't say the only reparations I want is in the market, or I'm gonna get it out the market while I wait. Yeah, get money, do your thing, but that's not reparations. Those are two separate conversations. Let's not have those conversations at the same time. So don't use our conversation about reparations, because we got the conversation of reparations in the national lexicon now. It's a hot topic now because of us. We forced it into the mainstream where everybody has to speak about it now. So don't use that to promote your business and your courses and all of the things that you got going on. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to receive the type of backlash that you are receiving. People on the grassroots ain't going to take too kind of that. People on the grassroots are going to respond accordingly. You know what I'm saying? And so if you don't want to receive that type of energy, don't mix up the conversations like that. Stay in your lane, do what you do. Don't use the conversation about reparations to try to promote what you got going on, because that's disingenuous at best, and it's off code. It's off code. You know what I'm saying? And so people, I'm not here defending Wall Street Trapper. I'm saying there is nuance in these conversations. I'm not here to defend him and saying that people shouldn't be giving him the pushback that he's getting. The pushback is deserved, but what I'm saying is the pushback to me is deserved because of the conflation, because of you trying to utilize a very serious conversation that we're having about reparations to promote what you got going on as an individual. That's the thing that deserves the pushback. Does that mean that, you know what I'm saying? I don't know where Wall Street Trapper's family is from. You know what I'm saying? From what I'm hearing, some people are saying his family is from the Caribbean or whatever the case may be. I don't know. But if that is the case, does that automatically make you a tether by doing something like that? Some people would say, yeah. Some people will say, yeah, that's some tether shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to argue it one way or another. You know what I'm saying? That's not the point of this conversation. My only point of this conversation, again, is for us to be able to observe the nuance and for us to be able to manage our triggers. You know what I'm saying? And so what he said here, I've never said in my life that we don't need reparations. So to me, that's an acknowledgement that there is a need for reparations. That's an acknowledgement that there is a need for reparations, and that he's having a whole nother conversation entirely, which is why I say you shouldn't conflate the two. You shouldn't try to use these buzzwords to try to promote what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a very serious conversation, and you know, it just does. We don't need to muddy the waters like that. We don't need to be muddying the waters like that. So that's that. You know, the pushback that you're getting is because of that. You know what I'm saying? Even though some people might not even narrow it down to it being that. Some people are just going to say you a tether, you off code, period, point blank, and that's the reason why you're doing what you're doing, and that's the reason why you're getting what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying there's a little more nuance to it than that. A little more nuance to it than that is what I'm saying. And again, the reason why I say that is because of the lane that he's in, as far as being in the financial literacy lane. And like I said, me being on the path to financial literacy and all of that, me gaining my own knowledge and information about the markets and just about money overall and how these things work, I do understand that you have to have a certain mindset in order to be successful at that. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, I think that's maybe where he might be coming from, but you're getting yourself in trouble when you step over those lines. You know what I'm saying? And so that brings me to some of the things that I've heard from Myron Golden over the years. Myron Golden is one of my favorite teachers when it comes to speaking about money, finances, the mindset that it takes to be successful and all of that stuff. He's one of my favorite teachers and speakers in that area, in that lane. And he has said things that has triggered me in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? He has said things that I feel could be taken as being off code. And he's said things that may sound like it's speaking in defense possibly of white supremacy or against our fight against racism and white supremacy and reparations and all of that, right? And so I want to show y'all an example of that. And the video is a little bit sped up, so hopefully that doesn't throw anybody off. Hold on. Let me put this up here. Where we at? Let me see. Let me go back over here. And hopefully no ads don't pop up here either. But listen to what he says here.
I used to be fascinated by people like Frederick Douglass, who were born into slavery and died free. But they didn't just die free, they died free having freed hundreds and thousands of others. How's that possible? Because Frederick Douglass was more aware of who he was based on whose he was than he was who he wasn't based on people who told him his whole life that he wasn't. We take something like racism. Well, these people are struggling because of racism. Well, maybe racism has contributed to their struggle, but they're not struggling because of racism. They're struggling to the degree that they bought into racism and the idea that they're struggling because of racism. Well, I'm going to get some kickback from that. Because it's easier.
Hold on. Now, he said people are not struggling because of racism. They're struggling because they bought into the idea that racism is holding them back or whatever. You know, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but you know, he said something to that degree, right? And we've heard things like this from Tethers, from Coons and off-code people. We've heard the same type of talk, you know what I'm saying? From a lot of off-code people, a lot of Tethers and people like that who say, who try to deny racism, who act like racism is not a thing and everything is fair and everybody has the equal opportunity to move up and succeed in this world, and talking about racism is just making an excuse. He said, what he said there sounds akin to some of the things that we hear when people talk like that, right? But again, this is about nuance. I don't think that's where Myron Golden is coming from with his statement, although it can be taken that way. But again, a lot of what Myron Golden does in his lane, in his arena, is about mindset development, helping people to develop the right mindset that it takes in order to be successful as an individual. He's not speaking about the plight of Black people as a collective. He's not speaking, you know, about our politics. He's not speaking about even some of the social issues and stuff that we deal with. He's in a financial lane, and he does a lot of mindset development talking points. You know what I'm saying? And so we do know and understand that many of us are able to be successful in spite of there being a system of racism and white supremacy in place that's designed to stop us from doing so. Many of us are still able to be successful in spite of that. And so what does it take? It takes a certain mindset to begin with. And so I don't think that what Myron Golden was saying there was a denial of racism. He actually acknowledged racism. He said, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. Let me bring it back and play it again. Let me bring it back and play it again. Where was it? I don't want to go back too far. Where was it?
We take something like racism.
Okay, right here. We take something like racism.
Wow, these people are struggling because of racism. Well, maybe racism has contributed to their struggle.
So that's an acknowledgement. That's an acknowledgement that racism is a thing. He's not saying racism is not a thing and we need to stop making excuses and pull ourselves up by the bootstrap. I don't believe that that's what he's saying here. But I do believe that many people could take it that way. Many people would be triggered and take what he's saying that way and then throw away the whole video and throw away his whole channel. Like, oh, I ain't fucking with Myron Golden no more. This nigga's a coon. I can't fuck with this dude no more. He's an apologist for white supremacy. I ain't listening to Myron Golden no more, man. This dude be cooning it up. Some people might take it that way. And I'm here to try to deter people from that. I'm here to try to encourage people to manage your triggers and think critically. Because I don't believe that's what he's saying. Right there, like I said, he didn't deny racism. He acknowledged that racism is a real thing. Did he not? Play it one more game.
We take something.
Okay, here it goes.
Like racism. Well, these people are struggling because of racism. Well, maybe racism has contributed to their struggle, but they're not struggling because of racism.
Maybe racism has contributed to their struggle. That's an acknowledgement that racism is a thing. But he said they're not struggling because of racism. So what does that mean? Racism is a real thing, but it's not powerful enough to hold you back. Racism is a real thing. Racism, white supremacy is a real thing, but it's a very fragile system. It's an imperfect system because many people are still able to succeed. Many Black people are still able to succeed in spite of it. And so how do you do it? You have to have the right mindset to begin with. And that's the lane that he operates in. And so it makes sense for him to say something like what he's saying to his audience. That makes sense coming from him. That's not the same thing as when you hear somebody like, I can't even remember the name of some of these damn Tethers. You know, somebody like a Myron Gaines. Myron Golden is not the same thing as a Myron Gaines, right? What's that other dude's name? That right wing dude. I think he's from Trinidad. Bird. I think his last name is Bird. He's a Republican senator. Is he a senator or a congressman? I don't know. One of them. I think his last name is Bird, and his people are from Trinidad, and he goes out there talking about how he doesn't believe in reparations and all of that. Some of y'all know who I'm talking about. But what Myron Golden is saying here is not the same thing as that. Although some people may take it that way. Some people might just hear those trigger words and say, I'm done with this dude. And what I'm saying is that we shouldn't do that. And so I just wanted to come on here to break down that nuance this morning because, number one, especially when it comes to Wall Street Trapper, I know that many of y'all who watch this channel here are followers of Wall Street Trapper. I know for a fact that some of y'all have taken his courses. I've seen some of y'all at his events, post pictures with him and different things like that. And you may see some of these tweets. You may see some of the pushback that he's getting, rightful pushback, by the way. And you may feel a way about supporting him or being a part of his groups or being a part of his courses or whatever the case may be. And I'm saying that you don't have to feel that way. It's okay, is what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is if you are still getting value from his teachings, if he's teaching you some things that is valuable, that's adding value to your life, you took his course and you learned how to trade in the market, how to make some investments that's helping you and helping your family out, you don't have to agree with everything that he says. You know what I'm saying? You could chew the meat and spit out the bones. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? So if you follow Wall Street Trapper, or if you took in his courses and you got something out of it, you're getting value out of the things that he teaches, doesn't mean you have to agree with what he's saying about reparations, but it doesn't mean that you have to just completely get rid of him because you don't agree with what he's saying about reparations or what he said about, what's the guy's name that got shot the other day? I can't even remember this guy's name. Somebody help me out in the chat. What's going on? Some chick named Star, top of the morning. You out there on the West Coast, I know it's still early over there. Appreciate you tapping in. S Swimsley said that's what you should have said from the beginning. Well, I was getting to it. You gotta be patient. I was getting to it. Why can't we just get their gems and also acknowledge that they're cooning? You can. You can. That's the point. That's what I've been saying the whole time about observing the nuances and managing your triggers and thinking critically. That's what I was saying. Somebody say he sounds like a Caribbean tether. He may be. I don't know. Recent institutional ownership data show BlackRock Inc. as a meaningful shareholder of Paramount Global. That means BlackRock's clients have exposure to BT. Okay, that's a whole different conversation right there. I don't know what. Demanding representation doesn't mean you should not sit on your hands and wait for money. Exactly. I agree with that. Okay. All right. Yeah. Charlie Kirk, thank you. I could not think of the damn suspected white supremacist that lost his life the other day. But yeah, Charlie Kirk is what I'm talking about. You might not agree with Wall Street Trapper was saying about Charlie Kirk. I damn sure don't agree with the shit that he was saying about Charlie Kirk. But what I'm saying is if you are getting some value out of the content that he puts out there about finances and all of that, you don't have to feel bad about that. You ain't got to throw all that away. Get what you need to get, chew the meat, spit out the bones. You know what I'm saying? And so that's all I wanted to come on here and say this morning, man. I appreciate y'all tapping in with me early. Me and Nicey should be back on here on our regular time on Sunday, so y'all stay tuned for that as well. But, you know, that's all I got for y'all this morning. And so, again, if you're not already a member of our channel, make sure you grab a channel membership. It's only $3 for you to become a member and get access to our exclusive content that are for members only and all of that. But yeah, other than that, man, y'all stay tapped in. Y'all stay on code. Always remember, family, I'm not the master teacher. I am only the master student and signal booster for the voices of the new Black media. Y'all have a good weekend. Peace and Black love.
Sell tickets online, never in the streets. Easiest way to make money.